The anomaly appeared on the USS Valiant's sensors at 300 hours, while most of the crew slept. Commander Jack Nichols had been reviewing reports in his quarters when the alert sounded. He rushed to the bridge, still fastening his uniform jacket. "Talk to me," he said as the doors slid open. Lieutenant Olivia Wright stood hunched over the science station, her face bathed in blue light from the display. She didn't look up when Jack entered. "Sir, we detected an object at the edge of our sensor range," she said. "At first I thought it was a glitch." Jack moved to stand beside her. The main view screen showed a standard star field, peaceful and ordinary. But the sensor readings were anything but ordinary. "Show me the data," Jack said. Olivia tapped a few controls and the main screen changed to display a technical readout. Jack frowned as he studied it. He had served on sensor analysis duty for 3 years before his promotion. He knew how objects in space were supposed to behave. This object didn't follow the rules. "That's impossible," he muttered. "That's what I thought too, sir," Olivia replied. "I've run the diagnostics twice. The sensors are working perfectly." The object appeared to be moving in ways that defied the laws of physics. It accelerated without any detectable propulsion. It changed direction without slowing down. And sometimes, it simply disappeared from the sensors, only to reappear moments later in a completely different location. "Is it a ship?" Jack asked. "Unknown, sir. It's not matching any known configuration in our database." Jack straightened up. "Get me a direct channel to Earth Defense Command. Priority 1. 10 minutes later, Admiral Kate Monroe's face appeared on the private screen in Jack's ready room. Despite the early hour on her end, she looked fully alert, her gray hair pulled back in its usual tight bun. "Commander Nichols," she said, "I've reviewed the data you sent. Tell me what you make of it." Jack chose his words carefully. "Admiral, in my 15 years of service, I've never seen anything like this. Whatever it is, it's not operating according to normal physics." Admiral Monroe's expression remained neutral, but Jack noticed her jaw tighten slightly. "Your discovery comes at an interesting time, Commander. 3 days ago, humanity had its first official meeting with the Galactic Consortium." Jack felt his eyebrows rise. The news of first contact with an alliance of 17 alien species had been announced to the public just last week. The diplomatic meetings were being kept private for now. "Do you think there's a connection, Admiral?" "I don't believe in coincidences, Commander," she replied, "especially not when they involve unknown objects appearing at the edge of our territory days after we join the galactic community." She looked down, typing something off screen. "I'm sending the Dauntless and the Resolute to join you. Until they arrive, maintain your position and continue monitoring the object. Do not approach it. Do not attempt communication unless it initiates first." "Understood, Admiral." After the call ended, Jack returned to the bridge. The night shift crew worked quietly at their stations, tension visible in their postures. News had spread quickly. "Any changes?" Jack asked. Olivia shook her head. "It's maintaining its position at the edge of our sensor range, sir. But there's something else." She pulled up a new set of readings. "It's emitting energy in patterns that suggest it could be scanning us." Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "Go to yellow alert." Quietly. The next 8 hours passed in tense silence. The crew changed shifts, and the day team took their positions. Jack remained on the bridge, unwilling to leave while the situation remained uncertain. Communications Officer Ben Miller spoke up from his station. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Text only, high priority." On screen, Jack ordered. The message was brief. "All ships. Consortium representatives evasive when questioned about unknown object. Maintain distance. Reinforcements en route. Monroe." Jack was about to respond when Olivia called out. "Sir, the object is moving. It's on an intercept course with us." "Red alert," Jack said calmly. "Shields up. Weapons on standby, but do not target." The bridge erupted into activity as the alert klaxon sounded throughout the ship. Security Chief Ryan Peters moved to the tactical station, his hands hovering over the controls. "Sir, it's accelerating," Olivia reported, her voice steady, despite the tension. Current speed exceeds our maximum by a factor of 3. Intercept in 2 minutes. Jack tapped his comm badge. All hands brace for possible contact. This is not a drill. He turned to Ryan. If they make any aggressive moves, target their propulsion. Systems only. I want to disable, not destroy. Aye, sir, Ryan replied. Though I'm not sure our weapons would do much good. The energy readings from that thing are off the charts. On the main view screen, the object finally became visible. It wasn't large, perhaps the size of a small shuttle, but its appearance defied easy description. The hull, if it could be called that, seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Its surface reflected light in impossible ways, sometimes appearing completely black, then blindingly bright a moment later. 1 minute to intercept, Olivia announced. Jack stood in the center of the bridge, shoulders squared. Open a channel, all. Frequencies. Ben nodded. Channel open, sir. Unknown vessel. This is Commander Jack Nichols of the United Earthship Valiant. You are approaching a military vessel of Earth. State your intentions. Silence filled the bridge as they waited for a response. The strange ship continued its approach. 30 seconds to intercept, Olivia said. Jack was about to give the order to back away when the object suddenly stopped, hanging in space less than a kilometer from the Valiant. Sir, Ben said, his voice barely above a whisper. We're receiving a transmission. Audio only. Jack nodded. Let's hear it. What came through the speakers wasn't a voice, at least not one made by human vocal cords. It was a series of tones, clicks and hums that somehow conveyed meaning directly to the mind. And the meaning was clear to everyone on the bridge. You should not be here. This sector is forbidden. Before Jack could respond, the mysterious vessel began to change. It stretched and twisted, its form elongating until it no longer resembled a ship at all, but something else entirely. Something that hurt the eyes to look at directly. Sir, Ryan said, his finger hovering over the weapons control. Orders? Jack held up his hand. Hold position. Do not fire. The transformed vessel pulsed once with a light that seemed to pass through the Valiant's shields as if they weren't there. Every display on the bridge flickered and went dark for 3 seconds. When the systems came back online, the vessel was gone. Damage report, Jack ordered. Ben checked his console. No damage, sir, but we've lost 2 hours. What? Olivia confirmed it from her station. Ship's chronometers and biological signs all indicate that 2 hours have passed since that pulse hit us. But none of us experienced it. Jack stared at the empty space where the vessel had been. 2 hours, gone in an instant. And a warning that humanity didn't belong here. Send everything we have to Admiral Monroe, he said quietly. And, Ryan, keep those weapons hot. I have a feeling we're going to need them. Dr. Alan Russell rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the data scrolling across his screen. For the 3rd time that hour, he ran the simulation. And for the 3rd time, the computer returned the same impossible results. As the lead physicist at the Titan research station orbiting Saturn, Alan had seen many strange things during his 15-year career. But nothing like this. This doesn't make any sense, he muttered to himself. The door to his lab slid open, and Samantha Diaz walked in carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. As his research assistant for the past 3 years, she knew his habits well. Still getting the same results? She asked, placing 1 cup next to his keyboard. Alan nodded and took a grateful sip. Thanks for this. And yes, the data doesn't change no matter how many times I run it. He pointed to a graph on his screen. Look at these energy readings. According to everything we know about physics, this object should have collapsed into a black hole. The gravitational forces it's generating would crush any known material in the universe. The data had come from the USS Valiant's encounter with the strange vessel 2 days ago. Since then, 3 other ships had reported similar sightings near the edges of human space. Each time, the mysterious vessel appeared, scanned the human ships, and then vanished, sometimes taking hours of time with it. What about the multi-location readings? Samantha asked, leaning over his shoulder to look at another screen. Alan switched to a different display showing sensor logs from the USS Dauntless. This is the strangest part. According to these readings, the vessel exists in multiple locations, simultaneously, not just appearing to be in multiple places because it's moving fast, actually existing in different spaces at the same time. Quantum superposition? Samantha suggested. Like particles existing in multiple states until observed? That's what I thought at first, Alan replied. But quantum effects don't scale up to objects that size. It would be like saying you could walk through a wall if you tried enough times. His computer chimed with an incoming call. It was Admiral Kate Monroe. Dr. Russell, she said when her face appeared on the screen. Tell me you have something. I have something, Alan replied. But you're not going to like it. He shared his screen with her and explained his findings, trying to use plain language despite the complexity of the subject. So you're telling me this ship breaks the laws of physics? Admiral Monroe asked when he finished. Not breaks them exactly, Alan said. More like it operates with a different set of rules. Imagine if someone from the 1800s saw a smartphone. They might think it was magic because it works based on principles they don't understand. Are you saying this is just advanced technology? Alan shook his head. No, Admiral. This goes beyond advanced technology. This vessel manipulates the fundamental nature of reality itself. It doesn't just bend the rules, it rewrites them in its immediate vicinity. Admiral Monroe's expression grew grim. Dr. Russell, I need you on Earth. Immediately. The consortium representatives have finally agreed to tell us what they know about this vessel. I want you there when they do. 20 hours later, Alan found himself in a meeting room at Earth Defense Command Headquarters. The room was designed to accommodate various alien physiologies. The temperature was warmer than humans typically preferred, and the lighting shifted between spectrums to accommodate different visual systems. Admiral Monroe sat at the head of the table. Next to her was Lisa Bennett, Earth's ambassador to the consortium. Across from them sat 3 alien representatives. The Zikari delegate, Vextal, resembled a 2-meter-tall crystal formation that pulsed with internal light. The Novan representative looked almost human except for the silver skin and eyes with horizontal pupils. The third delegate, from a species called the Mreth, was a floating cloud of blue particles contained within a transparent field. We have shared our findings, Admiral Monroe said after introductions were complete. Now we need to know what you know about this vessel. The 3 aliens exchanged looks, or what Alan assumed were looks, given their different anatomies. We had hoped not to burden your species with this knowledge so soon after joining our community, the Novan said, her voice melodious despite the serious topic. But circumstances have forced our hand. Vexital's crystalline body dimmed slightly. The vessel you have encountered belongs to beings we call the Void Heralds. Are they part of your consortium? Lisa Bennett asked. No, the Mreth replied, its cloud of particles forming patterns that somehow conveyed emotion. They were banished from our galaxy long ago, before any of our civilizations had achieved interstellar travel. Banished by whom? Alan asked. By those who came before, Vextal said. The precursors who left this galaxy 10,000 of your years ago. They fought a war against the Void Heralds, a war that nearly destroyed reality itself. Admiral Monroe leaned forward. What do these Void Heralds want? The 3 aliens were silent for a moment. Then the Novan spoke, her silver face solemn. They want what they have always wanted, to reshape reality according to their vision. To them, the laws of physics are not absolute truths, but merely suggestions. And why are they here now? Lisa asked. Why appear just after Earth joined the consortium? Vextal's crystal structure pulsed with what might have been agitation. We believe they have been watching, waiting. When a new species joins our community, the heralds test them. They wish to know if you pose a threat. A threat? Alan repeated. How could we threaten beings who can manipulate reality itself, Adai? Mreth's particle cloud formed a pattern that Alan somehow understood as sad amusement. Because, Dr. Russell, throughout history, only one thing has ever proven effective against the Void Heralds. Not weapons or shields or advanced technology. What then? Admiral Monroe demanded. New perspectives. the Novan said simply. New ways of thinking. The precursors defeated them not with superior firepower, but with ideas the heralds had never considered. Ideas that undermined their understanding of reality. After the meeting, Alan stood by the large window overlooking the San Francisco Bay. Admiral Monroe joined him, her face reflecting the concern they both felt. "What do you make of all this, Doctor?" she asked. Alan watched the sunlight play on the water below. "I think they're afraid, Admiral, not just of the Void Heralds, but of us." "Us? Why?" "Because we might actually stand a chance," Alan said. "The consortium species have had thousands of years to develop their understanding of the universe. Their scientific paradigms are established, refined, perhaps even rigid. And we're the newcomers," Admiral Monroe continued, "with fresh eyes and different approaches." Alan nodded. "If what they told us is true, then our greatest weapon against these Void Heralds might be our scientific creativity, our willingness to question everything, even fundamental laws." His comm unit buzzed. It was Samantha. "Dr. Russell," she said, her voice urgent. "You need to see this. The Valiant has made contact with the vessel again, and this time, it's showing them something." "What is it showing them?" Alan asked. Samantha's voice trembled slightly. "Earth, sir. It's showing them Earth, from multiple points in time, simultaneously." Alan looked at Admiral Monroe, whose face had gone pale. "Get back to your lab, Doctor," she said quietly. "Find me a way to fight this thing, before it decides we're a threat after all." Commander Jack Nichols stood on the bridge of the USS Valiant, his hands clasped behind his back to hide their slight trembling. Before him, the main view screen showed an image that should not exist. It was Earth, but not just one Earth. The screen displayed what looked like multiple versions of the planet layered over each other. Earth as it appeared now, Earth from the past with different continental arrangements, and Earth from what could only be the future, with unfamiliar structures visible from orbit. "Is this some kind of trick?" Jack asked, his voice quiet but steady. Lieutenant Olivia Wright shook her head, not taking her eyes off her science station. "The sensors confirm it's a direct feed from the Void Herald vessel. They're somehow viewing Earth across different points in time simultaneously. The strange vessel had returned an hour ago, appearing just 500 meters off the Valiant's bow. This time, instead of a warning, it had sent these images." "Can they do that to us?" Security Chief Ryan Peters asked. "See us across different times?" No one had an answer. The bridge crew worked in tense silence, monitoring the vessel that hung motionless in space before them. "Sir," Communications Officer Ben Miller called out. "Incoming transmission from Earth Defense Command. It's Admiral Monroe." Jack nodded. "In my ready room." Once there, he activated his private screen. Admiral Monroe's face appeared, lined with concern. "Commander, what's the vessel doing now?" she asked without preamble. "Still in position, Admiral. Still transmitting the temporal images of Earth." Jack hesitated. "Ma'am, is this a threat? Are they showing us what they can do to our planet?" Admiral Monroe's expression was grim. "We don't know. Dr. Russell is working on it. The consortium representatives claim they've never seen the heralds reveal this ability before." She paused. "There's something else you should know. A consortium science vessel is en route to your position." Jack felt a flicker of hope. "They're sending help?" "Not exactly." The Admiral's mouth tightened. "They didn't tell us they were coming. We detected them on long-range sensors. They're attempting to observe the interaction between you and the Void Herald vessel." Jack understood the implication. "They're using us as bait. It appears that way. The consortium claims they're simply gathering data, but—" She left the sentence unfinished. "Orders, Admiral? Maintain position. Do not provoke the Herald vessel." "But, Commander?" Her eyes locked with his through the screen. "Your crew is your priority. If that thing makes any aggressive move, you get your people out of there. That's an order." "Understood, Admiral." When Jack returned to the bridge, the situation had changed. Olivia looked up from her station, her face pale. "Sir, we've detected the consortium science vessel. It's approaching from bearing 047, speed 1/4 light. Jack nodded. They're not trying to hide. Put them on screen. The view screen split, showing both the Void Herald vessel and the approaching consortium ship. The alien craft was elegant, its shape reminiscent of a manta ray, with translucent sections that glowed with soft blue light. The consortium vessel is broadcasting some kind of scanning beam toward the Herald ship, Olivia reported. Jack felt his stomach tighten. Hail them. Tell them to stop immediately. Ben worked his console. No response, sir. Keep trying, Jack ordered, and put us between them if you have to. But it was too late. The Void Herald vessel suddenly changed form, its hull flowing like liquid metal. It stretched and twisted into a shape that hurt the eyes to look at. The Herald ship is powering up. Something, Ryan reported from Tactical. Energy readings are off the scale. Red alert, Jack commanded. Shields to maximum. Put us between that thing and Earth. The bridge klaxon wailed as the crew rushed to battle stations. On the view screen, the Herald vessel pulsed with a light that seemed to bend around it. Sir, it's not targeting us, Olivia said in surprise. It's focusing on the consortium vessel. They watched as a beam of what looked like folded space shot from the Herald ship toward the approaching alien craft. The beam didn't look like any weapon Jack had ever seen. Instead of explosive force, it seemed to warp the very fabric of reality around the consortium vessel. For a moment, the elegant alien ship stretched, its form elongating impossibly. Then, in the blink of an eye, it simply vanished. Not destroyed. In fire and debris, just gone as if it had never existed. Silence filled the bridge. Life signs? Jack finally asked. Olivia checked her readings. None, sir. No debris, no radiation, no distortion in space. It's as if that ship was erased from reality. Before Jack could respond, the Void Herald vessel turned its attention to the Valiant. The bridge crew tensed as the impossible ship oriented toward them. Evasive maneuvers, Jack ordered. Get us out of here. Helm Officer Pete Dawson's fingers flew across his controls. Engines responding, sir. Braking orbit at full speed. But the Valiant had barely moved when the Herald ship released another pulse of energy. This one didn't target them directly, but expanded in a sphere that washed over the human vessel. Every system on the bridge flickered and went dark. For 3 heartbeats, the only light came from the glow of the Herald ship on the view screen. Then the systems came back online. Status. Report, Jack demanded. All systems operational, Ryan reported, sounding surprised. No damage detected. Sir, Ben called out, his voice shaking slightly. We're receiving a transmission, audio only. Jack nodded. Let's hear it. The same strange sounds came through the speakers, tones and clicks that somehow formed words directly in their minds. Witness, learn, prepare. We will speak with those who understand. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the Void Herald ship folded in on itself and vanished. Jack hit his comm badge. Bridge to engineering. I need every bit of data you recorded during that encounter. Already packaging it, sir. Chief Engineer, Mia Foster replied. But there's something strange in the readings. During that pulse, our sensors detected a quantum signature, identical to ones we've been working on in the theoretical physics lab. It's as if they knew exactly what we were researching. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. Send everything to Earth. Priority 1. And then start scanning for that ship. I have a feeling it's not done with us yet. In the silence that followed, Olivia spoke up. Sir, what did it mean? We will speak with those who understand. Jack stared at the now empty space where the Herald ship had been. I think they're looking for someone specific, someone who can comprehend what they are. He turned to face his crew. And I think they just eliminated a race that failed their test. The question no one asked hung heavy in the air. Would humanity be next? Dr. Alan Russell stared at the 3-dimensional projection floating above the conference table. It showed the Void Herald vessel from multiple angles, with data streams flowing around it. The images came from the USS Valiant's encounter just 48 hours ago, when they had witnessed the complete erasure of a consortium science ship. Play it again, he said, his voice hoarse from lack of sleep. Samantha Diaz nodded and reset the simulation. The gathered scientists watched once more as the impossible vessel warped space around the consortium ship until it simply ceased to exist. They were in the main conference room at Earth Defense Command headquarters. Admiral Kate Monroe had assembled Earth's best scientific minds, military strategists, and the few consortium advisors who hadn't fled after news of their science vessel's destruction. "I think I see it now," Alan said suddenly, stepping into the hologram and pointing at a pattern in the energy wave. "There's a logic to what it's doing. It's not random destruction." "Explain," Admiral Monroe said from the head of the table. Alan manipulated the hologram, isolating the energy pattern. "The Void Herald ship isn't just erasing things from existence, it's editing reality. Look here." He zoomed in on a section of the pattern. This sequence repeated 3 times before the consortium ship vanished. It's like a command in a computer program, a delete function. Lieutenant Olivia Wright, flown in from the Valiant to assist with the analysis, spoke up. "Sir, that matches what I've been tracking in their movement patterns. There are repeating sequences that correlate with specific effects." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Are you saying these Void Heralds are treating our reality like software they can rewrite?" General Paul Harris asked. The silver-haired military man had been skeptical of much of the scientific discussion, but now he leaned forward with interest. "That's exactly what I'm saying," Alan confirmed. "They're not breaking the laws of physics. They're accessing the underlying code that creates those laws." Vextal, the crystalline Zikari delegate who had remained when the other consortium representatives fled, glowed dimly from the corner of the room. "This aligns with the ancient texts that speak of the Void Heralds. They were said to have found the seams of creation and learned to unpick them." Admiral Monroe stood, her hands resting on the table. "So how do we fight that? How do you stop something that can delete you from existence?" Alan and Olivia exchanged a look. "We can't match their technology," Olivia said. "But every system has rules, patterns. I've been analyzing the Herald vessel's movements across all reported sightings. There's a logic to it. Alien, yes, but discernible." "Show me," said the Admiral. Olivia pulled up her own data set, which overlaid with Alan's. "The vessel follows predictable patterns before it executes each reality alteration. It's like it needs to set up the proper conditions first." "Like running a diagnostic before installing new software," Samantha suggested. "Exactly," Alan agreed. "And that means there's a window where we might be able to predict what it's going to do." Admiral Monroe looked thoughtful. "Prediction isn't the same as prevention, Doctor." "No," Alan admitted, "but it's a start." The meeting continued for hours as they analyzed every scrap of data from the encounters with the Herald vessel. By the time they broke for the night, Alan had the beginnings of an idea. He was heading to his temporary quarters when Olivia caught up with him in the hallway. "Dr. Russell," she called. "I've been thinking about what you said about the Heralds accessing the underlying code of reality." Alan stopped, waiting for her to continue. "What if we approach this not as a physics problem, but as a communication problem?" she suggested. "If they're manipulating reality like code, maybe we can learn to read that code. Maybe that's what they meant by 'we will speak with those who understand.'" Alan felt a spark of excitement. "You might be onto something, Lieutenant. Meet me in the lab at 0600. We have work to do." The next morning, Alan and Olivia were deep in their analysis when an alarm sounded throughout the building. Admiral Monroe's voice came over the intercom system. "All personnel, report to your emergency stations. The Void Herald vessel has reappeared. It's in orbit around Luna Base." Alan and Olivia rushed to the command center, where a large screen showed the Herald ship hovering near Earth's moon. Unlike its previous appearances, it wasn't changing shape or emitting energy. It simply waited. "It's been in that position for 20 minutes, Admiral Monroe informed them as they entered. "No aggressive moves, no communication attempts. It's waiting for something," Alan said. "Or someone." As if in response to his words, a message appeared on every screen in the command center. It wasn't text in any human language, but a series of mathematical equations and symbols that shifted and changed. Can anyone make sense of this? The Admiral asked. Alan stared at the symbols, recognition slowly dawning. It's a modified form of quantum field equations. They're showing us how they manipulate reality. Is it a threat? General Harris demanded. No, Alan said, his voice barely above a whisper. It's an invitation. Before anyone could respond, another alarm sounded. A junior officer called out from his station. Admiral, the Herald vessel is on the move. It's heading toward Luna Base's research section. Evacuate the base, the Admiral ordered. Get everyone out of there. No, Alan said. Wait, I don't think it's attacking. He pointed to the screen. Look at its approach vector. It's heading specifically for the quantum physics lab, the one where we've been working on quantum entanglement experiments. Olivia looked at him. They're interested in our research? Alan nodded slowly. The Heralds edit reality by manipulating quantum states. Our experiments are crude compared to their technology, but the principles are the same. He turned to Admiral Monroe. I need to go to Luna Base now. That's out of the question, the Admiral replied. It's too dangerous. With all due respect, Admiral, this might be our only chance. They're reaching out to us. They're looking for someone who understands them, or they're looking to eliminate anyone who might pose a threat, General Harris countered. As they argued, the Herald vessel reached Luna Base. It hovered over the research section for several minutes. Then, instead of erasing it, a beam of light emerged from the vessel and enveloped the entire laboratory. What's happening? The Admiral demanded. They're scanning it, Olivia said, reading the incoming data. They're examining our quantum research in detail. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the Herald vessel vanished again. But this time, it left something behind. A complex three-dimensional structure floating above the lunar surface where nothing had been before. What is that? General Harris asked. Alan leaned closer to the screen, his heart racing. I think it's an answer to our research question. They're teaching us. Admiral Monroe's expression was unreadable. Or they're setting a trap. Alan shook his head. No, this is how they communicate. Through science, through understanding. He looked at the Admiral with determination. We need to go to Luna Base. We need to see what they left for us. The Admiral was silent for a long moment, then she nodded. We leave in 30 minutes, but Dr. Russell? Her eyes were stern. If this is a trap, I'm holding you personally responsible. Alan swallowed hard. Understood, Admiral, but I don't think it is. I think this is our chance to speak with those who break the laws of physics. The shuttle docked with Luna Base 12 hours after the Void Herald vessel's departure. Dr. Alan Russell was the first one through the airlock, followed closely by Lieutenant Olivia Wright, Admiral Kate Monroe, and a team of both scientists and security personnel. They moved quickly through the corridors of the research section, their footsteps echoing in the evacuated facility. The structure is in Lab 7, Olivia said, checking her tablet. Our quantum entanglement research lab. Alan nodded. He had helped design the experiments being conducted in that lab, though he hadn't visited in person for months. Any changes in the object since it appeared? Admiral Monroe asked. No, ma'am, one of the security officers replied. It's remained stable. Our remote sensors show no radiation, no energy emissions. It's just there. They reached the lab doors. Through the observation window, they could see it, a floating structure that resembled a three-dimensional geometric pattern. It was about 2 meters across, composed of what looked like threads of light woven into complex knots and spirals. Beautiful, Alan murmured. Admiral Monroe was more cautious. Security team, remain at the doors. If anything changes, if that thing so much as flickers, you evacuate the entire section, understood? The team nodded. Dr. Russell, Lieutenant Wright, you have 15 minutes. Make them count. Alan and Olivia entered the lab alone. They approached, the floating structure slowly, scanners in hand. It's maintaining its position without any visible means of support, Olivia noted. Zero energy signature, but the scanners can't penetrate it to determine its composition. Alan circled the object, his mind racing. Look at the pattern. Does it remind you of anything? Olivia studied it. Then her eyes widened. The quantum field equations from our research. It's a three-dimensional representation of the mathematics. Not just our equations, Alan said, excitement building in his voice. It's a correction. See how this spiral connects to this node? They're showing us where our understanding is incomplete. For the next 10 minutes, they documented every aspect of the structure, taking readings and capturing images from every angle. As they worked, Alan noticed something strange. Olivia, look at this section when I move my hand near it. He reached toward one part of the structure, stopping just short of touching it. The pattern shifted slightly, responding to his proximity. It's interactive, Olivia said. It's responding to your presence. Alan took a deep breath and moved his hand closer. The pattern flowed and changed, forming new connections and pathways. As he moved his hand in different directions, the structure responded, teaching him through movement how its patterns worked. It's not just a message, he whispered. It's a teaching tool. Just then, Admiral Monroe's voice came over the comm. Time's up, get back out here. With reluctance, they left the lab. Outside, the Admiral was waiting with Samantha Diaz, who had just arrived from Earth with additional equipment. Well? The Admiral asked. It's exactly what I thought, Alan said. They're teaching us. This structure explains how they manipulate quantum fields to alter reality. It's like they're showing us the source code of the universe. Can we use it? The Admiral asked. Not immediately, Alan admitted. The principles are so advanced that it will take time to fully understand them. But yes, eventually we could develop technology based on what they're showing us. Why would they do this? General Harris asked through the video link from Earth. Why give potential enemies this kind of knowledge? I don't think they see us as enemies, Olivia said. I think they're testing us, yes, but not to destroy us, to evaluate us. For what purpose? The Admiral pressed. Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the base. Samantha checked her tablet. The Herald. Vessel is back, she reported. It's approaching Luna Base again. Evacuate, Admiral Monroe ordered immediately. Everyone back to the shuttle. No, Alan said firmly. I need to stay. This is what they've been waiting for. They want to see if we understood their message. The Admiral started to protest, but Alan continued. If we run now, we fail their test. But if we stay, if we show them we understand, we might be able to communicate with them directly. After a tense moment, the Admiral nodded. You and Lieutenant Wright can stay. Everyone else back to the shuttle. Stand by for emergency extraction. As the others retreated, Alan and Olivia returned to the lab. Through the windows, they could see the Void Herald vessel approaching, its impossible form shifting and flowing as it moved. What do we do? Olivia asked. Alan looked at the floating structure, then at the approaching vessel. We show them we understand. He approached the structure again and moved his hands around it in the patterns he had observed earlier. The structure responded, flowing and changing with his movements. Olivia joined him, adding her own gestures based on what she had learned from their analysis. Together, they manipulated the structure, telling the heralds through their interactions that humans could comprehend the language of quantum reality. Outside, the windows, the herald vessel stopped. It hovered for a moment, then began to change. Its form shifted until it resembled a larger version of the structure in the lab. Then a beam of light extended from the vessel to the lab windows. The windows didn't break. Instead, the light passed through them as if they weren't there, connecting with the smaller structure. For a moment, everything in the lab seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, solid and transparent, present and absent, real and unreal. Then a voice spoke in their minds, not in words but in concepts and images that formed meaning. You understand. This is unexpected. This is promising. Alan struggled to respond in the same manner, thinking his reply rather than speaking it. We wish to learn. We wish to communicate. There was a pause. Then, Others before you feared what they did not understand. They sought to destroy what they could not control. You seek to comprehend. This is rare. This is valuable. What do you want from us, Olivia thought. Not from you. With you. The universe is larger than you know. Realities intersect. Some would unravel the threads that bind creation. We maintain these threads. We have done this alone for too long. The meaning was clear. The Void Heralds weren't invaders or conquerors. They were guardians of reality itself, seeking allies. Who could understand the nature of their work? We need time, Alan thought back. We need to learn. Time is one thread of many, came the reply. We will return when you are ready. The door is open. The path is shown. The light retracted and the Herald vessel began to move away. As it did, the structure in the lab pulsed once, then collapsed into a small, dense object that fell into Alan's outstretched hands. It was cool to the touch, resembling a crystal with infinite depths inside it. The voice spoke one last time. A key to understanding. A beginning. Then the vessel vanished, not by erasing itself from reality, but simply by moving beyond their ability to perceive it. Admiral Monroe rushed into the lab moments later. What happened? What did they do? Alan opened his hand to show her the crystal. They gave us a choice, Admiral, and a responsibility. To do what? She asked. Alan looked at Olivia, then back at the Admiral. To help them protect reality itself. They're not our enemies. They were never our enemies. They're guardians, and they've been doing it alone for too long. And they want us to join them? The Admiral asked, skepticism clear in her voice. No, Olivia said. They want to see if we can join them, if we're capable of understanding enough to help. Alan closed his fingers around the crystal. The ship that breaks every law of physics isn't a weapon, Admiral. It's a tool. And now they've given us the first piece of our own. As they left the lab, Alan looked back at where the structure had been. Humanity's first step toward understanding the true nature of reality had been taken. It was terrifying. Yes, but also wondrous beyond words.